For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber for instant analysis of the Wednesday practice of mock game week. We talked about yesterday, USC practice very physical. Well, that physicality carried over into Wednesday, almost a little too physical. It was very chippy out there today. 3 different little tiffs broke out. Keely Ross and Tyler Vaughns got into it. Liam Douglas and Hunter Echols got into it. And then Bubba Bolden and Michael Pittman got into it and actually got into on the ground. And it became a little bit of a big skirmish. But Helton, when asked about it, said, "Awesome! Didn't it make practice interesting?" So Helton seems to be buying into this chippiness in the sense of it can go towards physicality.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to and a lot of it is the defense is driving a lot of this. So I asked Clancy, I said, what's that like? And he said, that's fun to watch. I mean, and so everybody, and he said the best teams he's ever had all had that kind of chippiness. And I did ask Clay. I said, because the last one, the serious one, I said, Clay, if you would have not been looking at the start of it, and there's a giant scrum and a pile, and they pull everybody off, would you not be surprised at who was at the bottom? He said, no, I wouldn't be surprised. So, that Bubba Bolden is at the bottom of that pile would not surprise anybody. And there were all kinds of things. I mean, there was Isaiah Palomalo got in a head-on collision on the sidelines with Stephen Carr, who got the angle on him and got underneath him and just ran right through it. I mean, you just had one after another. I guess the Brett Nealon pulls and picks off Hunter Echols coming off the edge and pancakes him. And the defense probably had more things to cheer about, but boy, the offense, when they got one of those, really cheered like crazy. So it was, I mean, they're really into this. I mean, There is a lot of cheering, there's a lot of excitement. Give the defense credit because they've got so many guys that are competing, as Clay was talking about, safety. And he said, well, we got 6 guys who could be out there, at any time, and you wouldn't feel bad about any of them, 3 on each side. Well, when you've got those kind of guys, you can be down to the 3rd team, and you don't have to have a service team. You can be down, the 3rd team, and they're still coming after you and coming after you hard. And it's just different. I tried to get Cameron Smith to admit that it was different. He just doesn't want to give in to the fact that maybe they didn't practice like this last year, but he did say, we got to keep this going, and we got to figure out how to be able to do it all through the season.
We did get some clarification on what we'll see from the offense during the normal season, during practice. Tuesday is full pass, so that means it will be very run heavy. Wednesday, on the other hand, will be very pass heavy, and that's what we saw today.
Yeah, I don't think, we were necessarily, that it was written down that that's how it was going to go, but that was really because you're doing a lot of 3rd down situations, and, they're not in full pads, but you wouldn't have known that from the kind of contact there was and the kind of competition. But the quarterbacks really got a chance to do a lot of things today. And JT Daniels, this was his day to go first, and he got to do a tremendous amount of stuff, and he, got to make every pass, and thought it was a really good day for him. But I think Matt and Jack both had their moments as well. I thought an interesting day when you can say, I think the defense, played really well, and yet, a lot of offensive guys, especially Trevon Sidney, just had unbelievable days. But Amon-Ra did, Tyler Vaughns did, Michael Pittman did. I mean, Tyler Petit did. I mean, there were a lot. There were so many balls thrown that there were a lot of catches, a lot of good catches.
Yeah. It is Wednesday, but tomorrow's practice will be closed. Saturday's mock game will be closed, so we might not see USC until the quarterback decision was made. Where do you stand on all this? What is your gut telling you?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, they're not even going to practice on Friday, and Saturday is so closed that they're not allowed to tell you where they are. Sunday, Monday not practicing. Considering we won't see tomorrow, that's basically 5 days where we will not see them. Yeah. I don't know that it matters. I mean, I think we've seen enough. I think they've seen enough. I think it's pretty obvious, what direction that's going. I think the one question is, do they send out the depth chart and the game notes on Sunday night for the Saturday game. My guess is they'd like to be able to say first, and not go or for the quarterbacks. But that's kind of the goal is Sunday night. They'll be putting the depth chart out in the notes and see who, if you're going to start a freshman, for example, that probably needs a note. How many freshmen, not many freshman quarterbacks have started at USC in a long time. So, but we'll see if they get it done by Sunday. I think they will, but I can't guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. It was a defensive day, so we got to talk to defensive players and coaches. What did you take away from your interviews?
Well, I like it that they really know that they're competing, and they are competing hard. And I like that Cameron Smith talked about how, as much as he loves football, he really learned in the couple of weeks he was off with that hamstring. He said, what you learn is how much you miss practice and how much fun practice can be and how much, you really appreciate getting back out there. And I would say this is a team that if you're on the defense, it's fun playing defense the way this team is playing defense. And so I think that, that really goes together. They're having fun. We got a nice mix of the older guys who are bringing a whole lot of young talent on. And it's guys, a lot of them who were here last year. And now, the light has gone on. And you've got, as they tell you, when you talk to young guys, you got Cameron and Porter and, Marvell Tell and Jenny Harris and Iman Marshall and Malik Dorton and all these guys who can help you, through things. And you got all that enthusiasm of the young guys and what have you. It's a nice mix. And the defensive guys are really enjoying themselves and having a great time out there. And it's fun to practice. And again, we've been preaching this, but you go all out like that, and you're allowed to compete, and you're allowed to make plays, and you have to make plays because somebody else behind you is making plays. That's fun, and that's like game. I mean, so that's 2 days this week that we were wondering, how are they going to come out mock game week? And I think they competed just like it was a game, and nothing gets you ready for a game more than competing day after day after day. So that's a good sign. What we're seeing is a pretty good sign for this football team.
On the injury front, Porter Gustin is still rehabbing, but he looks close to returning. He looks pretty good out there. Chuba Doga was able to return in full pads. Marquise Stepp also was back in full pads, but he was limited. But Clayton Bradley is still out, and Helton hopes that they can get him back for next week. Is it bleeding into next week in the sense that maybe Clayton Bradley won't be ready for UNLV?
His back, he doesn't look as close as you might have hoped that he would be when they're working with him individually. He still looks pretty stiff. So I'm not absolutely convinced that he'll be there for UNLV. But some of the other guys, it was good to see good to see Chuma, Marquise, Stepp. That's a great step back, and I just think I think the competition thing is playing out in there as well, and I think you just talk about how many good things competition does for you, not only to get you up to game speed and maybe better than game speed, and the idea that okay, a lot of the defenses you're going to be playing against aren't as good as this USC defense and all of that, but I think the other thing is it gets guys on the field, and you don't want anybody playing when they shouldn't be and being dumb about it. And we all know, the Porter story from last year. But you like it if guys play through, the little ouches and the little soreness and all that. You'd like it if guys can figure out, I can do this and handle this. And again, it's a fine line, like we were talking about with Keely. You don't want to go past it, but you want to know how you can push yourself right to that spot where you're not doing yourself, doing any damage. And that's a thing everybody's got to learn as they go through it.
Yeah. Also worth noting that Cedric Ware was pulled with as a precaution with knee soreness, and then Bernard Shermer came out, the JUCO transfer came out with a stinger, and so Helton said he's going to get an MRI tonight, and we'll find out that I guess later. But that leads into my last point is this is probably going to be the longest gap that we won't have incident analysis until probably the end of the regular season.
Yeah, because tomorrow all we would have the instant instantly analyze would be Clay's post-practice presser, and it's going to be a fairly short practice anyway. So, no, that's we'll see it Tuesday.
Yep. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I will say this for Raka Cedric. He was doing an interview afterwards, and he doesn't look like he's bothered too much. I do like it when they just say, you know what, we don't need any more hits on this kid. We know what he can do, and let's be sensible here. And they're getting really good play out of walk-on tailback Ben Easington is just day after day has made plays. So I think he's somebody that mark him down as a potential guy to be on the field.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Wednesday's practice of mock game week. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.